everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm really excited for this reading that I decided to do for you guys today. So this is going to be a pick a card, pick a rune, pick a stone. Pick a stone rune card reading. But I felt called to do a reading for you guys, sending a love letter from your higher self, especially when it comes to self-love. And I was feeling drawn to do so because, especially with the energies that are at play and with the celestial bodies that are in motion, because when I recorded this video, it was the full moon in Leo, and so there was also a powerful conjunction between Venus and Mars, both in Capricorn. So this is a timeless reading, so whenever you do find this reading, it is for that time. Each group will be for you, whoever it is that you are picking, and of course, take what resonates, leave the rest, as a lot of tarot readers and card readers and readers on YouTube tend to say, because it's true. Like, spirit does want to communicate with you, your ancestors, or whoever you are, or whatever it is that you're seeking to find. The answer is there for you, right? And sometimes the answer may come from different people, so I'm just offering one set of answers that you may like or that may resonate with you guys. So I have for you all a group, 3 groups today, and so please feel free to choose one. I'll insert a picture so that you guys can choose. So we have group 1 is going to be the rose quartz with Nauthiz and this beautiful card that says live in the moment. Group 2 is going to be the blue topaz with the rune Ehwaz. Also this beautiful card. I love the look of this card. So like, it looks like a blooming flower. Happy life, live a less guarded life. And group 3 will be the carnelian, the royal carnelian with the rune called Ingwaz, which is associated with the god Ing. And the card slow down to relax. So please take a moment to center yourself, take a few deep breaths, make sure you inhale completely, exhale fully. And after the 3 breaths are completed, take a moment to look again at whatever it is that you have in front of you, which are the 3 groups, and then choose the group that you feel most drawn to choose. And then from there, please feel free to fast forward or click the chapter buttons below and go to your next reading. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope it's fulfilling. I hope it resonates with you guys, and I'll see you there. Hi group 1, welcome to your reading for today. I'm very excited to see what the cards have to say for you. Of course, this reading, as I mentioned in the intro, is about a message from your higher self. It's basically a love letter, a small little love message that your higher self may want to give to you at this time, or perhaps the energies of the universal principle wishes to offer at this time as well. So I have 3 decks here that I'm going to be using. We're going to play around, see what cards come out, and give you guys a small little reading. So for you guys who chose group 1, you guys picked the rose quartz here and also the rune Nauthiz, right? So for those of you who know, I know many of you do know about rose quartz, but for those of you who don't know, rose quartz is a beautiful stone that is utilized to help connect to our sense of self-love, our sense of self-worth. It allows us to connect to the divine guidance of universal love that pervades all things, right? I know oftentimes it's a stone that is used for romantic partnerships, to generate or to bring and manifest those kinds of partnerships into our lives. But the reason why is because it allows us to tap into our self-love. And when we tap into that frequency of loving ourselves fully and completely as best as we can, because sometimes that is hard from day to day. I know many of us do work through anxiety, depression, things like that, so it's not always easy. But when we do tap into that self-love and we do allow that energy to wash over us, it allows our frequency to bring equal measure towards us, right? Which is why we tend to attract those kinds of partnerships, especially healthy ones, when we treat ourselves well and we treat ourselves with self-respect and self-love. You guys also got Nauthiz, right? So Nauthiz is the rune of need, the need fire. I get the feeling that you guys who picked group 1, have a desire for something. Perhaps it's a desire for intimacy, or a desire for partnership, or a desire for a deeper understanding and fulfillment within your own self or your creative practice of wherever it is. Because Nauthiz is about need. And the only way that we can tap into the energies of Nauthiz, because Nauthiz comes after Haglas, or the rune of hail, or the storm. The storm often puts us to go inside, right? We have to go inside so that we don't get caught in the storm. When we walk into the house, when we walk into our inner life, the lichomen, the lighthouse of our soul, right, of our body, when we walk into it, that is where we start to develop and understand our need, right? What do we really need? When we go in, we find out what we need, what we want. So perhaps that's a good time for you guys, or it's a good time for you guys whenever you're watching, because this is a timeless reading, as well as a general reading. So, you know, as you know, take what resonates and leave the rest, as a lot of other wonderful readers say. So, you know, allow yourself to tap into that energy to find what it is that you need in your life. So I'm going to start with the sacred, the sacred landscapes, right? Sacred Destiny, it's called. Sacred Destiny Oracle. I like to call it a sacred landscape because I often use this deck to connect to the landscape of our soul. It's almost as if you're looking at the topography of your emotional life, right? And so I would like to see what that may be. Ah, okay, that's cute. I like that. I like this a lot. Okay, we're gonna go with that. Thank you. That was so quick. I love when the deck does that. Okay, so the first card that came out is Transformation, right? And you see this beautiful butterfly. So for those of you who are connected to butterflies, this may be a small sign for you. The same thing with the white rose or the yellow rose. That may be a sign for you as well, to know that this is your reading. The white rose represents wisdom and innocence, and also connecting to a sense of inner peace. And of course, the butterfly represents transformation. So you may be going through a time of transformation, of metamorphosis. And that's not always easy. But what I'm hearing is that I hope you know how proud your higher self is of you, how proud the spirits and the ancestors and the beings that walk beside you, how proud of you they are, and how proud you, your higher self, is of you, right? For going through this transformation, for stepping forth, for allowing yourself to release into something new, because that is a terribly brave endeavor, you know? So I hope that you connect to that, and that you allow yourself to realize how important this time of transformation is. So you may be reevaluating, what I'm hearing is you may be reevaluating how you look at yourself, or how you connect to self-love, or how you connect to the ways that you speak about yourself, because that's very important, right? The voice that we hear within our hearts or within our minds is extremely important. Sometimes that voice is critical, sometimes that voice is very judgmental, but that usually is because of past traumas or things that we've experienced, or whatever it is that we have gone through in our lives. And coming to face that with compassion and understanding and welcoming it at the table, so that you can sit down and understand it better, to know why it critiques you so thoroughly, to know why it judges you so deeply, and then understand it so that you can change it, so that you can transform it to become something different. To allow the voice to become more compassionate, more loving, more assuring of yourself. And you're working towards this inner peace, which I love. I love that you're working towards inner peace. There's also a blue lotus down here at the bottom here, and also like flittered about the card. And the blue lotus, to me, for those of you who do know, or for those of you who may have the same understanding of the blue lotus as I do, I believe its symbolism goes back to Egypt, because the universe was born from the lotus, right? Or the sun was born from the lotus as it came from the waters of, Nut, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I have to brush up on my Egyptian mythology, but it's the energy of the lotus as it bursts forth from the mud, right? Opens itself up to something new. So you are going through a very transformative time, which I hope that you are proud of yourself for doing. So, and like I said, it is about self-love, transforming the way you speak to yourself, the way you communicate with yourself. Because our relationship to our inner life or to our inner heart is the most important relationship that we can have, right? And I think that it's beautiful to see that you're working so hard on making sure that your inner voice speaks to you compassionately, because Group 1, you have been through a lot. You've been through a lot of heartache. You've been through a lot of disappointments, is what I hear as well. There's been a lot of disappointments that you've experienced from people, from circumstances. It's almost like you've gotten your hopes up one too many times, and you feel like, but you have like this desire to keep hoping, which I think is so beautiful, despite how tired you are. So I see you guys. I'm just gonna put that out there. And I love this. Oh yay! Look, look, look. So you have the Dawn of Love. So this deck is the Sufi Mystic Wisdom deck, which I love the art. The art is beautiful, absolutely gorgeous art. And it says the Dawn of Love. Love is rising on the horizon of your life. Which, I mean, this makes me very happy. This makes me very happy to see, because spirit or the energies at hand want you to know that you taking this journey of transformation, of sitting down and addressing the shadow self, because the shadow self is not always about the darker things that we don't want to see in our lives, right? Sometimes our shadows are the very things that will lead us to our happiness. Sometimes our shadows are the things that we never thought that we could have in our life, so we push them aside, right? Whether it's to be more joyous, more boisterous, more gregarious, more magnanimous, to be more, to take more space, right? To be angry and to assert your boundaries, right? There's so many aspects of our shadows that we don't talk about, right? That we don't think is connected to the things that would actually benefit us in the long run. We often think of our shadows as our traumas, right? Solely our traumas. But not every trauma is bad, right? Not every trauma, not every pain leads you to a wound, right? It's like working out. You could work out, that's painful, but you get stronger, right? So this Dawn of Love, I really enjoy this, because as a result of this transformation and working towards this inner peace, you are opening up into your life the dawn of love. You are awakening from this dark night of the soul. You're awakening from this harshness that you have had upon yourself for so long, right? And awakening to a new dawn, to something so beautiful. And I do see, for those of you who do desire partnership, I do see that on the horizon for you. I do see that very near at hand. And not near at hand in like 10 years. I mean near at hand like within the next like year or two. You know? Whenever you're watching this, because this is a timeless reading. And I hope that it assists people in the long run, right? Now, the last card that I want to draw for you guys is from the Prophet Oracle deck, which I love. Zoom zoom. I think Spirit agrees. They're just like, yes, yes, keep going. So things are about to speed up for you, actually. That's a good message. Things are about to speed up, especially in terms of romance, if that is what you're looking for. Because not everyone is looking for romance, but perhaps we're looking for companionship, right? So that may be speeding up in your life, or the areas that revolve around that. So let's see. This last card. Too many. Just one, please. Just one, please. I get the message also, like, don't lose hope, right? Don't lose hope in the things that you want to see in your life, because it is around the corner, despite how difficult things have been for the past 2 years. Because I think this past 2 years, especially with the pandemic, have been really difficult. All right, I'll just take the 2. I'll just take the 2. Okay. Okay. So with these cards, these are kind of like parting gifts that I like to offer in my readings, because it does come with a beautiful quote from the book The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. So the first one says, rejoice through all the seasons. Eating and drinking, right? So perhaps connecting to joy. Go out, drink, eat, have fun, be merry, right? Allow yourself to have a deeper relationship with your body, the sensual nature of your body, the sensual energy that you have within you. I hope that you can use this energy of transformation to look at your body not as just a temple, not as just an altar, right? But your body is the essence of your soul. It is the physical manifestation of your soul here on this planet. So treat it with the utmost respect, utmost kindness, and allow it to bring in the pleasure that you desire, to feel the pleasure even in something as simple as eating and drinking. So it says here, and when you crush an apple with your teeth, say to it in your heart, your seeds shall live in my body, and the buds of your tomorrow shall blossom in my heart, and your fragrance shall be my breath, and together we shall rejoice through all the seasons. So I think this is also a message about connecting to your body's ability to absorb everything. You are a very sensitive soul, a very sensitive being, and your environment is so important. The things that you eat are so important. The things that you drink are so important. The music you listen to is so important. The way that you speak to yourself is so important. And so it's about becoming meticulous about what you consume, about what you let into your body, about what you allow to enter this, to pass through. That's the word that I heard, that you allow to pass through this, I'm trying to find the right word, but it's about the energy that passes through you, right? You are the universe, and you are a particular locus, a focal point of this universe. And so what passes through you is so important because it affects the space that you exist in. It affects your aura, your being, right? And so it's about becoming meticulous in what you consume, and what you allow within you, what you listen to, right? Which I think is quite beautiful. And the next one is, all you have shall someday be given, which I think is absolutely beautiful. And it comes from the giving section, so I'll read this to you quickly. It is well to give when asked, but it is better to give unasked through understanding. And to the open-handed, the search for one who shall receive is joy greater than giving. And is there aught you would withhold? All you have shall someday be given. Therefore give now, that the season of giving may be yours and not your inheritors. Ooh. You often say, I would give, but only to the deserving. The trees in your orchard say not so, nor the flock in your pasture. They give that they may live, for to withhold is to perish. Whew. Speak to me. Yes, Khalil. Oh, love it. So for you guys, this energy too about giving, right? I feel like there's a lot that you don't talk about. You have such a beautiful soul, a soul that wants to share, that wants to love, that wants to give so much, right? And I feel like you're scared of that. You're scared of giving to the wrong person, or scared of not being understood, of not being received. But the idea is not to give so that you are received, but to give for the sake of giving. Because that process of exuding love, exuding warmth, exuding the emotions you have for your life and the life around you, yes, that is what provides, that is what enlivens, that's what draws people to you, right? That's what, how do I say this? It's like the image that I'm seeing is that you blossom, right? It's like a flower that blooms in the spring. And the moment you bloom, every bee comes flying to you like, hey, how are you? Can I like get a bit of this pollen? And you're just like, yeah, I'm like living. I'm enjoying myself, right? And so you, through giving of yourself to the universe, right? Not just to people, not just to one person or another person, right? But it's about giving through your art, giving through your love, giving because you feel like giving because you are overflowing, right? Like you have a day where you're just crying and you're like, I really want to tell people I love them, so then do it, right? Like, don't care what they think. It's not about them. It's about you. Don't care what these people think if you say like, I love you so much, and they're just like, okay, thanks. Don't worry about that. It's about you, right? You're saying it because it matters to you, right? And when you do that, that's where the abundance flows in. So that is your reading for today. I hope that you enjoyed it. This is my fun little try at card readings, because I usually do rune readings, which you're welcome to check out too. My rune readings are weekly. They give you a sense of the week ahead. So whenever you're watching it, you can check out the channel, and I'm sure there'll be a rune reading for that week whenever you're watching. But this is a timeless reading, so take what resonates. I hope that it has served you well. I hope it leaves you with many, many, many blessings. I hope that you continue on this path of transformation, Group 1. And if you liked the video, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you soon next time on the channel. Bye, everyone. Hi, everyone who picked Group 2. Thank you for joining me today. So as you guys know, this is going to be a reading from your higher self, or your guides, your spirits, the people who are with you, to offer a message of love, a message of self-love, because I think it's so important to hear those words that we need sometimes, especially when we're going through difficulties or we're experiencing things that may be on the more harder side of life, right? So today's reading is timeless, so it's for whenever you do find this. I hope it finds you well. And of course, you know, take what resonates, leave the rest, as a lot of other wonderful card readers say on YouTube. I'll be using 3 decks today to give you a brief message to see what we have. But first, we'll start with what you picked. So you guys picked the blue topaz, which is a beautiful, yep, yep. It is a beautiful stone. Blue topaz, as you can see, I mean, I'm always been in love with blue topaz, or topaz in general. Topaz is a stone of fire, right? Its elemental connection is to the element of fire. And so it is about awakening our courage, our vigor, our passion. It's about transformation, but the kind of transformation that leaves nothing behind, right? Because fire transforms utterly and completely. It takes what it's burning and completely shifts its chemical composition, right? That's why tree, like a log, will turn to ash. It's a completely different chemical thing, because it releases the energy of those old bonds, right? And releases everything. But blue topaz itself is about communication. It's about awakening the fire of the throat so that we can speak more. So for those of you who pick Group 2, it seems that you are being encouraged to continue to share your voice, continue to speak up, because sometimes I feel like it's hard. You don't want to rock the boat. It's hard because you have things that you want to say, but it almost feels like you're such humble people, humble and shy, and very well, some of you may be shy, not all of you, but a lot of you are humble. I say that because it's a general reading, so there's many of you, so I'm getting a lot of messages as they come in. But yeah, thank you. But what I'm feeling is that there is this energy of desiring to speak, but sometimes you hold yourself back, or you have words to say, but oftentimes you're like, I don't know if I should, right? So I hope that you do take to heart that this is about communication, discernment, understanding that your voice is valuable, right? And then you also pick the rune Ehwaz. Ehwaz is a very powerful rune. This is actually the rune of the yew tree. For those of you who don't know much about yew trees, they're often found in graveyards or in solitary places because the tree itself is a portal between life and death. It's a portal between the living and the dead, right? Because its trunk is quite hollow, if I'm not mistaken, and its roots are the things that are alive. So the things that you cannot see are alive, and the things that you do see are hollow and empty. And so it represents change. It represents an open door. Whenever I see this rune, I see it as an open door. So for those of you who chose group 2, you guys are on the threshold of an open door, the threshold of your new chapter in your life, and you are closing the old one. But that closure is sometimes difficult. That closure is sometimes hard to work through. But this fire, right? It's almost like Spirit wants you to speak and like speak your new life into existence, which is kind of cool. Also, I meditate to songs before I do the readings, and the song that you guys had, which I'll link in the description box below, was It Hurts to Be Human by Pink. And yeah, there was this one part that really got me where she said, yeah, it hurts to be human, but I got you. And so it's almost like your spirit team and your guides and your higher self, that part of you that is connected always to the universal source that dwells within you, right? Is saying that you got me. You can rely on yourself. You can rely on your community, the people that you care about and the people that care about you, right? So we're gonna start off with the sacred, I keep calling it the sacred landscape. It's not. It's not that. It's called a sacred destiny oracle. But I call it the sacred landscape because I often use this deck to get a sense of the emotional topography that your energies may be going through at this time, right? So I often start a reading with this deck because it gives me a lay of the land, so to speak. So let's see what your energy is. That was quick. Okay. Oh, I actually love that card. Okay. You guys have been going through. It feels like you guys have been experiencing some setbacks in your life. And some have been big, some have been small, right? Because again, this is a general reading. Okay, 3 still want to come up for you guys, so I'm just gonna go for it. And see what we have. I'm gonna move this over to a bit. Okay. So, like I was saying, it feels like you guys there's been some ups and downs emotionally. There's been some obstacles, some stones along the road, right? And again, it depends. So, because this is for many people, so whatever resonates with you. For some, it may be something as small as a small setback, like I just saw an image of like accidentally denting your car. I mean, that's a big one, but it's like in comparison to the larger things, right? It's not that, and well, you know what I'm saying. And then there's like larger things where you could have big setbacks. You could have people that you lost, or people that you had to say goodbye to, things like that. So it depends, right? Whatever it is, whether it's small or large, some setbacks. But what I see is that there is a space of miracles happening. And I love this image because as you can see, there's a double rainbow here, and you have the beauty of the mountain behind it, right? And the trees in the foreground. So it has this very lovely energy of just reaching past the precipice of this emotional difficulties that you've been experiencing, and using your sense of discernment to speak your truth, to walk into this new life, to create this new chapter for yourself. And what I'm hearing is that please expect miracles. Not just like expect miracles, like, yeah, like expect miracles, they're gonna come. Like, no, like this is, please expect miracles. It's almost as if the energy that I'm feeling is not just an invitation, but it's almost as if it's imploring you to trust, imploring you to believe in the miracles that life has in store for you. Because I think there's been a lot of, it feels like a heavy heart, right? There's been a lot that you guys have gone through in group 2. Ooh, especially things that you have had to let go of. But it feels like Spirit is asking more so, almost like pleading you to please continue to believe in miracles, continue to believe that things can turn around. That's what I heard, that things can turn around. There's also this sense of purification. So for those of you who like sunflowers, this may be a sign for you. For those of you who connect to sunflowers, this may be a sign for you. It is also a flower that connects to the goddess Oshun, for those of you who know her. And if I'm not mistaken, it may have a connection as well to the goddess Freya. So whoever that may resonate with, but the energy here is purification. And this is it's very sunny. Like it just got really sunny too. But I'm looking at this card and it feels like sunshine just like blasted my face. And that feeling of being awash in light, of being inundated in luminosity, right? Surrounded by phosphenes. It's so beautiful. It's the rain that comes after a really, really, really long drought. Or the last bit of rain after a storm, right? You know, I'm sure many of you have experienced this, but that the last band of rain after a hurricane passes, right? And it's just soft and peaceful and quiet, and it washes away everything. That's what I'm feeling here. So it almost feels to me as if your higher self, these energies that are coming through, are asking you to purify, to wash away the pain, wash away, and not to forget it, not to push it away, not to bury it, but it's almost as if it's cleaning the wound, right? It's cleaning the wound so that you can put a band-aid over it, so that you can be compassionate with yourself, so that you can wrap it, so that it can heal more readily, right? And then we have courage. I love this. It's like courage. Like I just heard, for those of you who like Lord of the Rings, I heard courage, Merry. Like when Eowyn was speaking to Merry when they were going to the battle of, well, the charge of the Rohirrim, actually. And she like leans over to him and she whispers, she's like, courage, Merry, courage for your friends, right? And because they're about to go to war, they're about to like charge into this new life. And so it feels like that. You guys in group 2 are about to charge into this new chapter, despite how difficult it's been and despite how you've been, it almost feels like very like tiring. But you're about to like charge into this new chapter, and it's almost as if I can feel your higher self whispering next to you, being like, courage, courage for your friends, courage for yourself, right? Like, have courage, you can do this. And that's so like, that warms my heart and it feels really good. And I hope that you guys feel that and you feel what I'm feeling, because it feels like that one voice that you needed to hear when you didn't think anyone was going to support you, right? So we have your back. I support you. I'm putting that energy out there for you. Like, I support you. And because you guys have a lot to do. It's it feels like a lot of creativity, a new life that you're trying to make for yourself. And that's something to be proud of, you know? That's something to be very proud of. So the next deck is the Sufi Oracle deck. And I love this deck because it has such beautiful images, and I do connect deeply to the Sufi tradition. I love it. I love it. So this deck really is fun to use. So let's see what they have for you. That was a lot of cards, guys. That was a lot of cards. But I'm gonna take this one that I just saw because I feel like this is the one. Just, you know, we're gonna go for it. So, funnily enough, it says turn over a new page. Let love lead the way for your change. How poignant is that? It just flew, hit the ground, and it was like, here it is. Here's your message. Turn over a new page. Allow this. Oh, and what I just noticed is that she has a tear here on the side. That feels significant. So allow yourself to feel your sorrow. Allow yourself to cry. Allow yourself to grieve for the previous chapter. Because even though it was difficult, even though, you know, even though it wasn't beneficial to you, that doesn't mean that you don't have love for it. That doesn't mean that it didn't have its blessings hidden in the cracks, right? So allow yourself to grieve and move into this new chapter because love will lead the way. And not only your self-love, but that push towards something new is going to lead the way. And I find that so terribly exciting. This turn over a new page, turn over that new leaf. So we have this is a very powerful theme of like going through deep transformation. Thank you, Spirit. Deep transformation. And also I see here, for some reason I feel to mention it, it's at the bottom of the deck of this one that I just placed. And it says open mind. Replace an old cycle with a new and exciting one. So perhaps you may be asked to keep an open mind to what things may come to pass or how things may turn out, right? We may have an idea of what that new chapter may look like for us, but sometimes it's just about letting it flow, letting it happen. So do follow your intuition. And I think this is where the self-love comes in and the purification, because the more that you take time to cleanse your body, so practically speaking, you guys can, every time you come home or every time you feel you need to, you can pass some sacred incense or sacred smoke from your tradition or from whatever tradition you may be connected to, right? Or you can do whatever purification practices are associated with your tradition if you have one. And if you do not have one, a simple one that you can do is just get a glass of water or a small little bowl of water. You know, ask for that water to help you through the purification process. Dip your fingers and like pass it over your shoulders and your head. Yes. Yes. I live next to a very busy street. So whenever I hear cars pass by, especially loud ones, I often take it as a little sign. Spirit is like, yeah, you're doing it. You got it. So the next card here is from the Prophet Oracle deck. And this one is a parting gift because it has some beautiful quotes from Khalil Gibran's book, The Prophet. Oh wow, this came out for group 1 too. Let's see if something else comes out as well. No? Yeah. One more, Spirit. The top one. Make not a bond of love. So let's see. So we have the first one here is all you have shall someday be given. Right? So I'll read that to you quickly. Because I love this. I love that you get like a little bit of a reading, you know? Like a reading and then an actual reading. So it says here, giving. It is well to give when asked, but it is better to give unasked through understanding. And to the open-handed, the search for one who shall receive is joy greater than giving. And is there aught you would withhold? All you have shall someday be given, therefore give now. that the season of giving may be yours and not your inheritors. You often say, I would give, but only to the deserving. The trees in your orchard say not so, nor the flocks in your pasture. They give that they may live, for to withhold is to perish. So this came out in group 1 as well, and that was a quote from The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. And it's powerful, right? Because it talks about giving, but not in the way that we normally would conceive of it in terms of our current cultural status or our current societal practice, right? It's not giving to receive something. Giving is not, in this sense, giving is not just an exchange, right? Even though that is very important. Exchange and equivalent exchange and reciprocity is extremely important. But in this sense, this giving is about the overflow of your soul, right? It's about this tear that comes out, the grief that comes even though the past experiences have been difficult or have been something that you truly want to leave behind. It's still okay to grieve that. It's still okay to grieve. It's still okay to feel, because emotions don't come singularly. Emotions don't come alone. Emotions come as an ocean, as a wave, as a moving sea, right? Emotions are the entirety of our spirit, right? It's not just our reason and our emotions, our mind and our heart. This is one energy, right? So allow yourself to have that rational understanding, like, yeah, I know I'm leaving this behind and I have to keep moving forward, but allow for that understanding that I can also grieve, I can also experience. That is the giving, right? It is the upwelling, the overflow of your heart that spills over and just gives and waters and helps you create, right? So I hope you keep that in mind. And the last one is make not a bond of love. This is going to be interesting for you guys, because I feel like you guys are very loyal and you guys have like really connected to people in the past and really like, you know, this is my end all be all, this is my person, or this is the, you know, this is the path that I want to take, or this is the experience that I know has to happen and it has to happen this way, right? Because you guys are very loyal. You guys know what you want. You guys, when you do decide on something, group 2, I do feel like you go for it 100%. So it's asking to have that open mind, to open yourself up to new experiences, right? Make not a bond of love. So let's see what it has to say here. So this is from the section on marriage. But let there be spaces in your togetherness, and let the winds of the heavens dance between you. Love one another, but make not a bond of love. Let it rather be a moving sea between the shores of your soul. I love that. I love that. I love that. Let the winds of the heavens dance between you. Love one another, but make not a bond of love, right? So again, it's this concept about self-love, right? That the self-love that you have within you is the root of the universal principle. It is the root of the tree of life, right? That self-love that you have for yourself allows you to love someone else, allows you to embrace someone else. It allows you to embrace yourself. The way that you have compassion for your own heart, you will have compassion for someone else. The way that you judge yourself is the way that you'll be able to judge yourself. And of course, there is a lot to say about the reciprocity of life, right? But in this instance, about making not a bond of love, it's understanding that the self-love that you have within your own heart is sufficient unto itself. It is sufficient. It is what you need. It is the root of all things, right? Your self-love is a reflection of the love that the universe has for you, right? And so loving someone else and loving this past experience, right? Loving this tear that we have, this experience from the past, these old chapters that you're leaving behind, being able to love them doesn't mean that you are bound to them. It doesn't mean that you have chains linking you to these past experiences, right? Loving them and understanding them means that it is like an ocean between you both. That past experience is another country, another space on the other side of the ocean, and your love can lap its shores. But you are on a different land, on your own being, and you are going to walk to someplace more beautiful, more blessed, even more forgiving and abundant. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed that. I feel like that's your reading group 2. I feel like that's what the energies had to say for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did like the video, please like and subscribe below. I usually do rune readings on this channel, and those come once a week. So whenever you find this, you can probably find the weekly reading is up at some point. Usually goes up on Wednesdays. But yes, I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time on the next reading. All right? Bye, everyone. Hi, everyone. Welcome for you guys who picked group 3. I'm very excited to see what the cards have to say for you guys. Now, of course, this is a timeless reading, so it's good for whenever you find this video. And of course, it is going to be about a message from your higher self, a message from your spirit guides, or from whatever energies that are present that wish to offer you a sense of a message on self-love or self-worth, right? And I think it's going to be really lovely. I think it's going to be great. It's been the past like 2 groups have been pretty emotional, so I think this may also have that level of emotional depth to it. So, you know, please grab your tea, grab whatever it is that you like to comfort yourself with, or however it is. But we'll begin with the stone that you picked. So you guys picked the carnelian stone today, and carnelian has many traditions across various cultures, and it has often been connected with kingship, with leadership, with courage, associated with growth and understanding and sexuality, sensuality. It's connected to our sacral chakra, especially in the New Age communities. They often talk about carnelian being connected to our sacral chakra, connected to our creative centers, connected to a space of creativity, abundance. It has been used for a whole host of things. And also it is an agate. Carnelian is an agate, so it is connected to emotional peace, emotional calmness. It's connected to emotional balance as well. And I find there is a similar theme here with the rune that you picked, because you guys picked the rune Ing or Ingwas, which is connected to the god Ing, and that is the god of the earth, the god of fertility, of abundance, of grounded energy, right? So both of these together to me represent a desire for grounding, a desire for connecting to your body, sinking into your bones, being more present with your emotions. It's almost as if I feel like you guys have been very tired recently, physically tired, emotionally tired. And what I like to say is that whenever we feel physically tired or emotionally tired, it's often because we've already exhausted the other areas of our life. So for example, our aura is the largest part of us, so to speak, as we exist here in this universe. And so our electromagnetic field is the furthest reaching of our self, right? And so that's the spiritual energy. So once that gets exhausted, we fall back onto the mental energy. And once the mental energy gets exhausted, we fall back on the emotional energy. And when we exhaust the emotional energy, we start to feel it in our physical body, right? And so all of these things is not to say that one is super spiritual and one isn't, right? It's not about that. It's about understanding how it fluctuates through our energetic being, the uniformity of that energy, right? So the meditation song that came up for you guys today was Bless These Tired Eyes, and I was like, wow. And also I feel like you guys have been having a lot of mental chatter, a lot of wow things that have been happening to you, because there's as I'm doing this reading, there seems to be everything happening outside. So I wouldn't be surprised if you guys have been experiencing a lot of frustrations, a lot of random things that have been happening to you, or you've been running into roadblocks, or there's been energies of like it's almost as if like you haven't had any time to rest or haven't had any time to slow down, and it's been just this go go go, constant chatter, constant, all of this energy of everything happening outside. So it feels very scattered as well. It feels like a very scattered energy. So I do hope that you take the opportunity to find this grounding energy that you're looking for, to find this space where you can tap into your inner peace, whatever that may look like for you, because it looks like that looks very different for everyone. And what makes you feel peaceful is different for everyone. For some it's gardening, for some it's meditating, for some it's taking a bath, for some it's going on vacation, for some it's simply being home, right? So whatever it is that brings you that sense of peace, I encourage you to find it, and to find that space where you can tap into the grounding energy. Because I know we often talk about grounding, but especially in the spiritual community, but it's not often discussed, I think, in the sense of what grounding looks like, because it looks different for everybody. So I do hope that you find grounding practices that feel good for you, that support your growth, right? So I'm going to start today's reading with the, I keep wanting to call it the Sacred Landscapes. This has happened in every reading. The Sacred Destiny Oracle. And I call it the Sacred Landscape, as I have explained in the other readings, for those of you who decided to do more than one. That I often use this deck to give me a sense of the emotional topography that we're dealing with, right? It's almost as if like it's giving me a map of what I'm looking at. For some reason I feel like there's two more. Yep. Oh, okay. Okay. Yay! Alright. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. It's making more sense now. Why there's been like so much happening for you guys. So the first card that came out is called Focus. Alright, so it's this card here. And focus to me with the leopard going across the snowy mountain, snowy mountainside. Snow for me represents peacefulness, right? Snow for me represents quiet, solitude. And this cheetah is about speed, right? It's about fastness, how swiftly you can do something. But as we saw earlier in the video with everything that was happening outside, you guys have been doing a lot, Group 3. You've been honestly overworked is what I hear. And so they're asking the cheetah of your mind to slow down, to take a break, to take a moment to look at the falling snow, to find a space of silence. Because a part of loving oneself and a part of developing that reciprocity between you and yourself is to find balance between how much you work and how much you play, right? And oftentimes even mixing the two, letting them blend together. I know some people say, you know, one's work and one's play, but there is playfulness in every moment, just as much as there is the intensity of work in every moment, right? Even though for example, something like this is so much fun to me, I really enjoy the playfulness, having fun, putting down the cards and doing all that, but it is work too, right? Even though it is playful and there is moments where the intuition and the intuitive principle can open the door of possibility and create that space of playfulness, it's still work. So learning how to drink your water, to take a 5-minute break, to step outside of your work for a moment and take 10 minutes, right? Whatever it is that you need to do. And for some of you, because again, this is a general reading, some of you may be smokers or enjoy smoking. I do hear that it is a form of grounding for you. It's a space where you can carve out time for yourself. And I feel to say that there are you are allowed to find other ways to carve out that time and that space for you. Because, you know, you do you, but it's about understanding why we do the things that we do, right? And it is about carving out some time for yourself. So please use that time wisely, right? Use it as that space for clearing and for peace, right? And knowing that you can fully connect to that. The next card here is love. So I feel like you guys have been really what I hear is that there has been some neglecting of the garden of love, right? The garden of love within your own heart. But I think that this is changing now, that you are realizing how important it is to ground yourself, how important it is to tap into that silence, to carve out space for your own existence, right? Outside of work, outside of your friends, outside of your responsibilities, or outside of the things that you need to do, right? Your obligations, I should say. But coming into a space to nurture the inner garden of your heart, right? And I think that's beautiful, because love, whenever I see this card, the love to me feels like it's blossoming. And then it comes to this one, abundance, which is really good. I feel like it's almost like there's steps happening, right? Because you start here with love, and you're learning to water, and the more that you water yourself, the more that you offer yourself that time, that space, that those quiet moments throughout the day where you can finally ease the tension in your shoulders, where you can drink the water, make the tea, make the hot chocolate, whatever it is, right? The more time you carve out for yourself, the more that it's leading to a space of abundance, which I think is actually quite beautiful. So the energies, your spirits, or whoever, this energy that's here that I'm reading at this time, it feels very proud of you for taking the opportunity to find these spaces for yourself. And they encourage you to continue to find healthy spaces, right? Because sometimes we scroll on Instagram for a really long time. Sometimes we're always on Twitter. Sometimes, you know, we find relaxation in things that are good for us in small doses, everything in moderation, right? But if we're not offering that space for ourselves enough, we tend to dive into it, and dive into these spaces, dive into things that may not be beneficial for you. Like what I'm hearing is over drinking of alcoholic beverages, or drinking to the point where you feel sick, right? Things like that. Or perhaps, like we mentioned earlier, smoking to the point where it's affecting your lungs, or scrolling on Instagram to the point that you get a headache, right? It's like you're looking for these spaces to ground, right? And your energies are encouraging you to find spaces that are more balanced. That's the words that are coming to my mind. And of course, it's not to make you feel bad about these practices, right? It's never to do that. It's never to make you feel as if you can't do these things, or that you can't go out drinking with your friends, or go out dancing, or whatever it is. But it's about coming into deeper alignment with yourself, understanding why you need those things, and then making time for them appropriately so that your body can relate to them in ways that are much more beneficial in the long run, right? I hope that makes sense. Because again, it's not to tell you how to live your life, right? Because I think drinking's fun. I think going out dancing is fun. I enjoy scrolling on Instagram. I enjoy like looking at what people have written on Twitter. But I know for myself, sometimes I do get caught up and I focus too much on it as a means of trying to make time for myself, without realizing that I can make time for myself in other ways. I can make time for myself creatively. I can make time for myself sexually. I can make time for myself by eating good food, right? There's so many ways that we can ground ourselves. So just to keep that in mind. I hope that makes sense. So let's see what the next card is. Okay, I'm back. I had to briefly get up and change the camera battery, the battery of the camera, because it sadly had died. And I was like, oh no, I have to not do that. So what I wanted to say, what I thought was interesting, is that this was the same card that actually came out for Grip 2. And I do feel called to talk about the card that came out on the bottom of the deck, so I'll just put it right here and we'll talk about it shortly. But the first thing that I see here is turn over a new page, right? And at the bottom it says, let love lead the way for change, which I love. And also I feel something here to mention, that as I mentioned in the previous reading for Group 2, that there is this tear that she has on the side of her face that I had noticed. And also I see here the sun. Old iconography of the sun on the third eye. So perhaps you guys have been receiving messages or having very interesting dreams when you do rest. And these dreams perhaps have symbols in them or aspects that you may want to look into. And what I find interesting about this focus and the abundance and tying all of this together into this energy of turning over a new page, of engaging in a new way of experiencing your sense of grounding. How can you create a space where you can turn over a new leaf and make conscious effort, meticulous effort, focused effort on manifesting, creating that space and time for yourself, right? And the reason why I say that is because I'll show you. So there's this card here that says ending a trauma, right? Transform memories and symptoms. So it feels to me that a lot of this energy that you're working through at this time, which is looking to ground more, to move away from the overwhelming energies that have been surrounding you recently, allowing yourself to find more space and time for yourself to rest and to not feel so overworked, right? A lot of it has to do with moving away from a previous modality of existing, right? Where you are constantly giving yourself, constantly taking on all of the jobs, opportunities. It feels like what I'm hearing, or I'm hearing and seeing things at the same time. So it's kind of cool. But the thing that popped up was as if you're working at whatever job you're working at, and your boss messages you and says, hey, can you do this for me? Even though it's outside of the realm of what you do, right? But they know that you would be able to do it well, so they reached out to you, right? And you said yes. You were like, yes, absolutely, even though your plate was already full. So it feels to me as if there's a lot of that energy happening, and you're moving away from that, learning to have greater boundaries, not only with others, but the most important boundaries are the ones that we have with ourselves, right? Of knowing that, no, even though I can do this and I can do it really well, and I know why you messaged me and you sent me that email, I'm going to have to decline, because this has nothing to do with what I need to do in front of me right now. And on top of that, if you want me to do my job to the most excellent degree that I can, I have to focus on what's in front of me, and I can no longer take any projects. So it feels something like that, right? As an example. And it's connected to ending this trauma, ending a past cycle, a past, as I said, methodology of thinking, right? A past modality of your identity that was constantly servicing others, or constantly living for others, or constantly putting yourself in positions where you know you had to do it, so you'll do it right, so let me just get it done, right? But now it's about rest. It's about cultivating that self-love. It's about blossoming into abundance. It's connecting to this, turning over a new leaf, finding spaces where you feel most secure, finding spaces within your day, within yourself, where you can create that sense of security, the sense of boundary between yourself and the things that you have to do, and say, no, I need time for me. Nope, I need time to rest. No, I cannot have this conversation right now. And that's okay. I will have it soon. Here's the time that I feel like I will need before I can have this conversation. So if that example makes sense to you, if that resonates with you. So the next card deck that I'll be using is called the Prophet Oracle. which has beautiful excerpts from The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. For those of you who haven't read it, I thoroughly encourage you to take a look at it. I have written a book that was inspired by it, so I hope to have that book available for people soon. Putting it out there into the universe. But also what I'm feeling for you guys in group 3 is to please sleep more. If you can. I know sometimes we do work through insomnia, or we do have a lot of things on our minds, or we do have certain anxieties that we work through. But if you have the wherewithal and the means to sleep more, please do so. I do feel like it'll be really beneficial for you to find more spaces of rest. So let's see what this card deck has to say for you. I usually take one card. For the previous ones, I have taken 2. But for you guys, I feel like it is going to be just 1. Because for the other readings, only 1 came out for these. So I feel like there's a little bit of a balance happening. So this one says, keep pace with the earth. And it comes from the section of work. So it seems like work is a big theme for you guys here, and the work that you do. So I'll read to you the excerpt from the book. So it says, keep pace with the earth, from the section on work. You work that you may keep pace with the earth and the soul of the earth. For to be idle is to become a stranger unto the seasons, and to step out of life's procession that marches in majesty and proud submission towards the infinite. When you work, you are a flute through whose heart the whispering of the hours turns into music. Which of you would be a reed, dumb and silent, when all else sings together in unison? So I find that to be quite beautiful and quite poignant, especially for this reading in particular, because again, we have all this energy from the carnelian, from Ingwas, that are talking about grounding, focusing on your sense of self, focusing on what you need at this time so that you can water and nurture your inner garden so that it can blossom into abundance, right? Because you are turning over a new leaf, and you are in the process of ending an old paradigm, right? Ending a past trauma. And it ties all together in relationship to how you relate to work, how you relate to creating things, how you relate to your business or whatever it is that you do, right? It feels to me about this juxtaposition. I shouldn't say juxtaposition. I would rather say a blending between your work and your play, right? Allowing yourself to be that musical instrument through which the whisperings of the heart can pass through, and all that you do becomes this song of joy, this song of love, this song of submission towards the infinite, right? The infinite within you. It's about allowing yourself to understand that the boundaries that you create with work, right, is the same boundaries that you use to create a song. Because every song is born from silence and ends in silence, and the boundary of the sound is what creates the music, right? So your music, the sound of your heart, the song of your soul, requires these boundaries so that it can make a beautiful song, so that it can join the orchestra of life, right? So I hope that this message resonates with you, right? I hope that it makes sense to you. So, but I do feel to kind of wrap it up in a small package for you guys in particular. You've been overworked. You are doing a lot. You are constantly working, and everyone are very proud of you for doing what you're doing, right? But please put yourself first. Please understand that the garden of your heart is what requires your attention more than anything else, because it is from that garden that everything will blossom, that your life will blossom, that the trees that will be your legacy will take root, right? all of these things, and you are invited to turn over that new leaf and understand that the work that you do is for you and always will be for you. At least that is my hope. So I hope that resonates with you guys. I hope that message serves you well. And if you like the video, please like and subscribe. I will have the songs below. So for you guys, group 3, it's Bless These Tired Eyes. You can find it below in the description box. And thank you for joining me today on the channel. I really appreciate it. I usually do rune readings here on the channel, and you can find those are weekly. So whenever you find this video, since it's a timeless reading, I'm sure there's a weekly video that's available if you do want to check it out, if you do feel called. But otherwise, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. All right, bye everyone.